All right, before I get into the previews, I want to discuss Carey Price. I want to discuss Carey Price because it seems like anytime Carey Price comes up, there's a division. There's people who think Carey Price is a solid goaltender, and there are people who think that Carey Price is overrated. Now, I will say this: at 10.5 million, he is overpaid, but I understand why he's overpaid. Now, I say this still wearing the same jersey I was wearing for my history video this morning, which all of you watched, and the same hat because we're still talking Montreal here. Now, Carey Price, when he was drafted number five overall in 2005, famously, it has to be mentioned each time that Pierre Maguire lost his mind, believing that Montreal didn't need a goaltender. They had Guérin. They had, with Matthew Guérin, why would you need Carey Price? That was a question. Anyways, Carey Price, it was a couple of years before he came in, which continued this narrative of Montreal doesn't really need a goaltender. But it was among people who didn't understand. I got it. If you have a chance to draft a top-notch number one goaltender, you do it. You know this kid's going to be a home run, you do it. Now, Carey Price, when he came into the league, he posted a 24-12-3 record, a .920 save percentage, was 9th in Vezina voting, and 4th in Calder voting. Now think about it. He's 9th in Vezina voting his first year. Not bad. Now, year 2, things kind of turn against him. 52 games played, 23, 16, and 10, .905 save percentage. And this is when the hounds start circling again. Of he's not good enough. He's not good enough. He's just not good enough. He's not good enough. 2009, 2010. 41 games played, 13 wins, 20 losses, 5 overtime losses, .912 save percentage. Still. So at this point now, it's Jaro Halak. It's the Halak show. It's all about Jaro Halak. And there was an opinion that they should keep one or the other, and there were some, myself included, who said you keep Halak and you get rid of Price. Price is not a number one goaltender in the NHL. It's pretty obvious. He had a good rookie season, but his last 2 years, he's kind of hasn't been very good at all. Just don't worry about it. Just get rid of him. They got rid of Halak. And a lot of us fans were of the mind that that was crazy. Montreal had made a terrible decision. 2010, 2011, Carey Price played 78 games. 38 wins, 28 losses, 6 overtime losses. .923 save percentage. He's 5th in Vezina voting and 7th in Hart. So, writers voted him 7th for the Hart, 5th for Vezina, realizing without him playing those 78 games, Montreal's not in the playoffs. Then 2011-2012 hits. 26, 28, and 11, and .916 save percentage, which is right around average. The average, last year the average was .912. The year before it was .913. And I know it's varied, I believe, between .912 and .915 over the last however many years. So .916 is around average, but they missed the playoffs. So it was back. They should have kept Halak. Price isn't good enough. Yada, yada, yada. 2012-2013, this is the lockout shortened season. He plays 39 games, 21 wins, 13 losses, 4 overtime losses, .905 save percentage. And again, is he an elite goaltender? I don't know. Maybe. Nah, probably not. And that narrative has continued until now. I think he gets a lot of blame for the fact that Montreal hasn't got over the hump in the playoffs with him in net. But I've personally felt that Montreal was too small. Then they didn't have enough talent up front. And right now, again, is there any goaltender that could have taken Montreal to a Stanley Cup in his run here? I don't think so. So to point at a cup ring and go, haha, he hasn't got one. Well, we also agree that a solid number one goaltender is a piece of winning a Stanley Cup. You can't just ride a goaltender to a Stanley Cup. It doesn't work. 2012, yes, the Kings had that incredible run, and Jonathan Quick had an incredible run. But there were some really key goals that happened. There were some key moments there. And it was yes, quick was a major reason why they won it. Much like I think of Patrick Roy back in '93. But John LeClair scoring some big overtime goals made a difference for Montreal in '93 too. My point is, if Price is standing on his head or playing well, or even better, the better example is, and I've always made this an example with the Canucks. If Luongo wasn't having a great night, the Canucks never bailed him out. Not once. I think Montreal's had that with Carey Price. And I think there's extra pressure when you're a goaltender and you know that if you don't have a fantastic game, you're not winning. So there's that little bit extra pressure that, for example, in Chicago, I would watch Corey Crawford get bailed out or Anthony Niemi get bailed out. And then the next game, they'd have more confidence and play better because they knew, okay, if I allow one, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Whereas for a guy like Luongo or a guy like Price, it's if I allow one, it's the end of the world. Moving on to 2013-14. He has 34 wins, 20 losses, 5 overtime losses in 59 games, .927 save percentage. Plays in the Olympics. At the Olympics in Sochi, he has a 0.59 goals against in 5 wins, .972 save percentage, is named the goaltender of the tournament, gold medalist, and number 4 in Vezina voting. So this is why when people say, he's had one good year. No, he's had numerous good years. And when Carey Price is on, and he's at his best, like at the Olympics, .972 save percentage, 0.59 goals against in 5 games played. That's impressive. 2014-15, he plays 66 games, 44 wins, 16 losses, 6 overtime losses, .933 save percentage, Hart, Vezina, Lindsay trophies. Also got the Jennings trophy. And he was a first-team All-Star that year. The only time he's been a first-team All-Star. So here's his Vezina. But also, remember, the Hart is the MVP of the league. The Lindsay is hockey players in the league. The NHLPA votes for the Lindsay, meaning that the NHL Players Association said he was the best player in the league in 2014-15. So, this is a good year. This is a fantastic year. Where his career divides is right here. And the reason why there's so much debate now is this 3-year part here. Montreal's missed the playoffs 2 of the last 3 years. In his previous time in Montreal, they'd only missed it once. 12 games, 10 wins, 2 losses, .934 save percentage. If he'd stayed healthy and kept playing at that level, Montreal probably makes the playoffs and makes some noise when they're there. He goes down and they miss the playoffs. He gets gold at the World Cup of Hockey. And I was vocal on the channel at the time that I didn't think he should play because he only played 12 games during the year. And I was nervous that in a tournament like that, he could, there could be a collision, he gets hurt. He can be his own defenseman, he gets hurt, and he's done. But he proved he was still one of the best goalies in the league. 2016-17, 62 games played, 37 wins, 20 losses, 5 overtime losses, .923 save percentage. He's number 3 in the Vezina. He's number 3 in the Vezina. What's he remembered for in 2017? Getting out-dueled in the first round of the playoffs by Henrik Lundqvist. And that's fine. And that's a whole other conversation beyond. Is Carey Price and whether or not he's a playoff goalie. But in the regular season, he's been excellent. Number 3 in Vezina, wins the Vezina. Number 4 in Vezina, 5 and 9 in the Vezina votes. He's not a poor goaltender. But this season, and this is what everybody focuses on, this past season, 2017-18, 49 games played, 16 wins, 26 losses, 7 overtime losses, a .900 save percentage. And he was below .900 points this year. I have to say, and I still believe, he's playing hurt last year. There were games I watched where his lateral movement wasn't what it usually was, and I was thinking, man, he is not capable of making those saves. So there's 2 ways you can look at Carey Price and what you have right now. You can look at his 286 wins and say this guy's a winner. You can look at his 25 playoff wins and say he's not that great. You can look at his .918 career save percentage and say, well, that's good. It's not as good as some others. You can look at his .914 save percentage in the playoffs and say, yeah, again, good, not as good as others. Any year that Montreal does anything, it's because Carey Price is healthy and playing really, really well. He has dragged this team to respectable results. And he's done it more than once. He is still capable of doing it. I understand the most recent season, he didn't look very good, but he was hurt during that season. When he's healthy, he posts at least a 920 over the last 4 seasons. I don't think he was healthy at all in 17-18, so I'm not including that. At least 923. Sorry, at least a 923 save percentage. And we could talk about how save percentage isn't a great indicator, but what defense was he playing behind? Think about the defense that he's playing behind in Montreal, and then look at his numbers. And it's startling. And I say that again, I don't have a dog in this fight, but I'm doing previews this morning for Minnesota and Montreal. And before I get to Montreal, I wanted to discuss Carey Price and why I still think he is capable of getting back into the level of being a top 5 goaltender in the NHL. Because he was there 2 years ago. He can get there again. He's only 30 years old. Luongo's 39 if you want a perspective. He's got probably a lot of years left. It's not that the $10.5 million cap hit is probably too high for him. Absolutely. But, you know, if you sit down with your boss and you say, hey, I want $4 million, and your boss goes, okay, is it your fault you got it or the boss's? Probably the boss's. He could have said that's too much money. Can we talk you down? $10.5 million. Is it too high? Yes. But is he still an elite goaltender? I argue that he can be. And I think he's due for another really solid season. Is Montreal going to have a solid season? I don't think so. But he can cover up for a lot of flaws. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.